I just found out some really bad news, which is that I need to move out of my apartment in Amsterdam. I think just hearing that, if you know what the Amsterdam housing market is like, it already sounds bad. But it's even worse because the place I have now is such a good deal and I cannot afford regular Amsterdam rent. So like after leaving here, I feel a bit fucked. Like there's nowhere I can go. A lot of the income that I'm making right now is from things that I need my home for, like hosting events in my home and dog sitting. So not only am I facing losing my home and the roof over my head, but I'm facing losing a lot of my income. So it's quite like a negative thing. And I definitely have some days where I'm like, oh my God, this period of life right now feels so terrible. Like this feels so horrible. But the thing that kind of keeps me feeling okay during this is the thought of everything happens for a reason.
Right out of college, I had a really difficult friendship breakup with somebody who I had called a best friend at the time. It inspired me to reevaluate the way that I was seeing friendship. I always was looking for somebody who elevated me and who pushed me to be better. And that kind of led to this imbalance in power dynamics. And so when I look now, what is that, like 4 or 5 years later, I do feel like I have really strong female friendships and really strong bonds that don't come from a place of being competitive with each other. And I feel like those people can still make me better. So I think that going through that friendship breakup was needed for me to reevaluate the way that I was sort of conceptualizing my relationships with people in my life.
I made a mistake when I was trying to negotiate for this job, and I ended up asking for a way higher hourly rate than I would have ever felt comfortable with because I just miscalculated. And they said, oh, we can't do that, but we can pay you €50 an hour. And I was like, what? Like, what? Are you kidding me? It ended up working out so well. It was an amazing job. And it was just one of those things that showed me, oh, I can do things differently.
As a dancer or like any creative, especially in the entertainment industry, it's like failure after failure. The positive thing that came from it was I really wanted to perform. That's the thing that really drives me. It's just, I love performing. I love being on stage. I decided that I was going to learn how to produce because if I could produce my own work, I didn't need to rely on somebody else producing for me and putting me in their work. So I basically built this whole show around me wanting to perform. And then I invited like 9 other dancers and it didn't go smoothly when I first started. Like I put out an open call and like crickets. Yeah. Nobody was interested. I had to like really call people individually, ask if they knew anybody, like really recruit also. It ended up being like a big success.
I'm talking about a mom loss. So this happened this year, January, so right after the holidays and stuff. But for me, it was a mindset change. I know that my mother had a lot of regrets on her life because she couldn't do stuff. So the mindset that gave me my mom loss was to start doing stuff, to don't feel the pressure in some years saying like, oh, I couldn't achieve that, I couldn't reach to that. And I took it as a really powerful and positive mindset after that happened. So yeah, even these kind of tragedies, you need to use them on your favor because that's important, and that's, I think, the secret of life.
I always think back to this story that my dad used to tell me when I was a kid. I love this story so much, so I want to share it with you. It's called Good Luck or Bad Luck. So basically there's this old man, he lives in a village, and he owns one horse, and he needs this horse. He really depends on this horse, and the horse runs away. So it's very unfortunate. Everyone in the village comes to the old man and they're like, wow, we're so sorry for your bad luck. We're so sorry for you, this is terrible. He responds and he says, good luck or bad luck. And a couple of days later, the horse comes back with new friends. On his adventure, he met 5 wild horses and came back with 5 more wild horses. So now instead of 1 horse, this old man has 6 horses. Everyone in the village comes in, they're like, wow, you're so lucky. Your horse, like now instead of 1 horse, you have 6 horses, that's incredible. You're so lucky. And the old man says, good luck or bad luck. The next week, his son, the old man's son, is trying to train one of the new wild horses. He gets thrown off of the horse's back and breaks his leg. And everyone in the village comes and they're like, oh no, we're so sorry, your son broke his leg. What terrible luck. And the old man says, good luck or bad luck. And then a war starts, and the military comes to draft all the healthy young men in the village. And they take all the young men except for his son because his leg is broken. And everyone comes to the old man and they're like, wow, you're so lucky. Your son is the only young man that doesn't need to go to the war. And the old man says, good luck or bad luck. I think that is such a beautiful representation of how things that might seem bad end up leading to something good, and things that might seem good end up leading to something bad. And actually, at the end of the day, nothing is good or bad. It just kind of is, and it's just leading on to the next thing. And life is just in waves. So there's going to be good, there's going to be bad. It's like a given that this good thing is naturally going to lead to another bad thing, and the bad thing is going to lead to another good thing, because we're just going in waves. We're always getting a mix of good and bad.
My dad, when I was a kid in sports, he would always, like, before every game or meet or whatever, he would always say, like, positive mental attitude, McKenna. That's all it takes is a positive mental attitude. And, like, I remember so clearly in high school, I was on the cross country team, and I would be running our, like, 5K race. And he's, like, standing on the side, like, screaming, like, positive mental attitude, like, you can do this. It was just, like, so ingrained into us. That mindset was everything.
I have been doing bad for many times in my life, and at the end of the story, everything went for better.
Thinking about all the struggles I've had in the past, and thinking that every single time I was able to go through them, and I'm still here today.
But it's hard. Like, we are human, and like, it's not always easy.
And I think that your brain kind of forms ridges of, like, the way that you think. You tend to think about things in the same way over and over and over again. So if you can do that in a positive way, then it will snowball. Same thing if you do that in a negative way, which is why catching yourself in those negative moments is really important.
Make sure to put more focus on the things that you can control rather than the things that you can't. And it kind of lets you to look at things in a different perspective.
Alcoholics Anonymous quote of, like, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And just kind of looking at what you have control over and really focusing on those things and focusing on making progress in the areas you have control over, and then everything else just letting it go, because stressing about it won't make it better. So better to not stress about it.
Everything happens for something, for a reason that maybe that's not your place anymore, that's not the person you need to be with anymore.
The biggest thing for me is surrounding myself with people who keep me in that positive mindset. And if I notice I'm spiraling, kind of like being mindful of why or who is causing the negative thoughts to crop up.
Trying to stay away from the toxic people or the toxic conversations that keep you feeling really negative. That's the boundary queen in me, to be like, you know, when it's time to let some relationships go, it's time to let them go, or just let them change or transition into the new phase that they're in, because you're always going to have love for people, and it just might not be time anymore to, like, keep that negativity going if it's not working for you.
I feel like it's a balance, and it's not about always having a smile on your face, but it's like a balance of, hey, this is a shitty situation. I'm aware of that. I can feel sad about it, and I can feel whatever feelings come up about it. And at the same time, I know that at the end of the day, everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to.
Have a cry, let it out, scribble, like, do whatever to, like, get that feeling out so you can move past it. And I know it's really hard when you're struggling, but it doesn't have to be forever. Like, things are temporary. Just don't give up, because it can get better. And it probably will.
Whatever is going on, whether it's good or bad, it's temporary. So if you're in a good phase, enjoy it. And if you're in a bad phase, know that you can stick it out and it's gonna pass. Let yourself feel the feelings, get it all out of your system so that your body is healthy. Because I think also that's one of the main things of staying positive, is that, like, Everything is intertwined, so you need to be physically healthy and emotionally healthy. Go to sleep early and make sure you're sleeping the amount that you need to sleep. Nourish your body well, eat well, go work out, make sure you're feeling strong. Let out the feelings so that they don't get stuck in your body. Know that you have the tools to overcome any situation. Nothing would be put in your path if you didn't have the tools to overcome it.